If you're like me, you have a pet. And if you have a pet, you've probably been in this situation before. You've got something coming up. Maybe it's a wedding, a vacation, or a day trip. And you want to go, but you can't just leave the furry little bugger home alone. So you could ask your friends and family to watch them, but maybe they can't. Maybe they're allergic, maybe they're busy, maybe their pet doesn't get along with your pet. And maybe you just don't want to ask them because you've already done so 3 times this year and you feel like you're starting to burden them. So at this point you have 3 options. The first one is to throw in the towel, cancel your plans and stay at home. The second one is a bit more tricky. If you've taught them how to get their own food, how to let themselves out, how to walk themselves, and self-defense against intruders, you can hand them the keys and hope they figure it out. Now, I personally don't trust my dog not to eat an unattended sausage, let alone taking care of himself in the house, which leaves option 3, checking them into a kennel or a pet hotel. Now, if you're not familiar, a kennel is a basic cage facility that keeps your pet, gives them food and water while you're gone. They're usually quite basic, focusing on their most primal needs, but it's a safe place for a decent price. A pet hotel, on the other hand, is a more holistic solution, better suited for long-term stays. They typically have cozier rooms, play areas, socialization opportunities, grooming services, and sometimes even spa treatments.
Now, for this service, I've chosen to focus on the Norwegian market. More specifically, its capital, Oslo, and its surrounding area. The reason I've done so is partly because of familiarity with its canine community, and partly because Norwegians sit among the top of travel and vacation statistics, such as vacation days and annual amounts of trips per capita. Travel, after all, seems to be a major contributor for people needing pet care. Also, in the Oslo area, I've created 6 customer segments: rural pet owners, traveling business executives, urban professionals, suburban families, elderly people, and infrequent users. I've put the different customer segments on this customers matrix based on their value perception analysis. Some of the key takeaways of said analysis is that urban professionals and traveling business executives are likely to value time and task utility through flexibility and reliability. They might also have both the want and means to pay for nicer looking accommodations, which goes under form utility. Likewise, suburban families and elderly people might appreciate the feeling of extra safety and comfort for their pets, which goes under form utility, and regular updates about their pets' well-being, which goes under task utility. Proximity, also in this case place utility, could be positive or negative depending on the location of the pet hotel. But from what I could find during my research, it seems that the most high-end pet hotels are at least a considerable distance from the city center. For the aforementioned subgroups, suburban families and elderly people, travel time and availability is likely challenging, especially during peak travel season. Infrequent users prioritize accessibility and affordable prices for one-time use, but may find the services expensive, which goes under possession utility, and complex, which again is negative under task utility. Finally, rural pet owners might view some pet hotels as having negative place utility, though that kind of depends on how far away they live. Some of the justifications for the different placements of the segment groups in the customer matrix diagram are that infrequent users might have a low loyalty and only moderate satisfaction because they use the service quite sporadically and rare, and might find the offerings too complex or expensive for occasional use. Traveling business executives' satisfaction can be high when services meet their needs, but loyalty might waver if the service is not available during urgent travel times or if the cost to value ratio feels way off. Also, for rural pet owners, They might value the accessibility and special care options, but loyalty may be moderate due to concern about additional travel costs and the consistency of service reach in the rural areas in which they live. Also, for senior citizens, they might be bound to what's economically viable, as a lot of them might have different amounts of pensions or income streams. As for suburban families, I find it quite likely that they're probable to find something that's both within their means and something they can stick to on a regular basis every time they go on family vacation. The suburban families also happen to be the segment I chose to focus on during my QFD research. I did so because I figured they would have somewhat predictable travel patterns, as well as being able and willing to pay a little extra for their furry friends. They're likely to have a decent household income with both parents working. Additionally, suburban families account for such a sizable chunk of the population that I suspect they could be a great foundation for my customer base at launch. In order to gain further insight about my customer base, I interviewed 3 pet owners from Oslo. I used open, semi-structured interviews that ranged from about 4 to 6 minutes. In these interviews, I asked about their usual routine and care for their dogs, and how they arranged pet care when traveling, among other things. The first subject was a 27-year-old middle-income earning man that lives near the city center, pretty close to his parents and sister. He has a white Labrador. The second one is a 23-year-old male student who lives with his parents in a suburban peninsula, right here. His family has an Alaskan Malamute, which doesn't always get along with other dogs. The third interviewee is a 24-year-old living in the suburban outskirts of Oslo, with his golden retriever and the rest of his family. During the interviews, some potentially useful insights emerge regarding their view of kennel and pet hotel services. First off, convenience and proximity seem to be relevant factors for all participants. Respondents expressed a preference for facilities closer to their homes to minimize their travel time when dropping off or picking up their pets. Second off, trust and reliability in the care they provided. They generally didn't seem too neurotic about it, but they wanted the best for their companions. That is, in relation to the cost and value for money. Because within the segment, the subjects seem to have varying levels of comfort with paying a premium. The owner of the demanding Malamute seemed especially content with the premium in exchange for some peace of mind. Overall, they give off an impression of seeing the value of the product, but having something left to be desired from the services. After deliberation, I proposed a range of possible modifications to the current service offer. Among them, the introduction of different price packages and a pick-up/drop-off service aims to increase accessibility and convenience, leading to higher customer satisfaction and potentially attracting more clients. Offering specialized services like dog walking and vet consultations caters to specific customer needs, which could have enhanced the perceived value of the service. However, these modifications may also result in higher operational costs, which could be passed on to customers, potentially making the service less affordable to some. More specifically, I think the dog walking operation could be hard to break even on. That being said, my proposed version 2.0 is a larger scale pet hotel service. I want to use eventual scale to be able to offer different price packages for customers with different needs. I also want to offer a pick-up and drop-off service for the pets. That being said, in order to promote the new pet hotel, I want to offer an open day where people can bring their pets, have a look around at the facilities, and maybe arrange play dates with the other pets. The open house will be hosted on Saturday the 15th of March 2025 from 11 to 17 o'clock. Among the participants, 5 lucky winners will be chosen at random, getting a 3-day pet stay completely for free. So, if you and your pet both want to pause and relax during your next vacation, our name is the Four-Legged Lodge and we're looking forward to seeing you.